Hello, and welcome to another session of Rising Above the Average with me, Alun. I'm so glad to see you guys. Hey, who is pumped today? How are you all doing? And as you know the drill, before we get into what I'm going to share with you guys that I believe is going to help you guys to rise above the average. And what does it mean to rise above the average, by the way? What do you think it means? You can write in the comment below what it means to me. And the reason why I started to do this weekly video series is just to share with you some principles that I myself have learned from my mentors on how to go through difficult times. You know, things are happening where many of us are going through a lot of difficulties, a lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainties. But I believe that there are always opportunities in challenges. So I thought I will share some of the things that I've been learning from my own mentors that have been helping me go through these times. And I thought I would share with you guys so that we can all go through these times together. And yes, so this is what I call rising above the average. So rising above the circumstances, rising above the challenges, the difficulties. Because I truly believe that no matter what happens, life is for us. Life is always happening for us and not to us. And there's always something to learn. There's always something to get, and there's always something to take away to improve our own life. So what did you learn this week? Now you should know the drill. So every week I have a very simple structure. We are going to go through what we've learned this week. I'm going to share what I've learned. You can share with me what you have learned in the comments below, and then we go through the simple principles that I learned from my mentors, from the books that I read. I'm going to share a few with you, and then we have like abundance affirmations at the end, and then that's it. We call it a day. So I try to keep these sessions under 20 minutes, just really to give you insights and nuggets to help you in your life and to go through challenging situations, you know, that sometimes very frequently we all find ourselves in. So what have you learned this week? Have you learned anything this week? Look back, look through your day, your week, and share with us what you've learned this week. What have I learned this week? What have I learned? I've learned a lot of things, but this week I learned that knowledge, you know, have you heard the saying that knowledge is power? So this week I learned that knowledge is not power. Hold on, because until your mind goes like, wait, what? Hold on. So I think it's the next level of thinking. I learned that knowledge is not power, but the application of knowledge is power. The execution of knowledge is power. And I think, in other words, wisdom is power. So when you learn something and you apply it, that is how you gain and exercise your power. You see, so, we're talking about how to rise above the average. And I'm going to share with you what I've learned this week. Share with me what you have learned this week. Have you learned anything this week? If you have, feel free to comment below and let me know what you have learned this week. And I was just saying that this week I learned that knowledge is not power, but the application of knowledge is power. So what have you learned this week? Share with me below. What have you learned this week? I learned that the application of knowledge is power. So everything that we're going to be sharing in this series of Rising Above the Average, I'll encourage each and every one of you to practice it. Practice it, execute it, do something with it. Don't just feel like, just learn something and just, let it go. Do something with it. So, I'm waiting for you guys. Share with me what you've learned this week. I learned that knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is power. So everything I'm learning now, I try to implement them in my life. And even if you feel like, oh my God, there's so many things happening in my life right now and I can't really do that, I'll encourage you to start small. Start tiny, bitty small. Like do tiny thing every day or something small every hour, just to kind of incorporate into your body the routine. And routines are very, very important because they help us reach our goal. And on that note, I'm going to share a short story with you just to encourage you to not give up in life. You know, many times difficult things happen, things are always going to happen, but the difference between successful people and those who are not are the fact that successful people don't give up when things go hard. When things get hard, they keep pushing on. And today I am going to share with you a story that, you know, emphasizes the fact that you should never give up, and that many times when difficult times come, only those who push through and stay put actually make it out. So we are reading from Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and today I'll be reading a story from page 63, and yeah, so let's start. It says, the world no longer scoffs at the dreamer, nor calls him impractical. If you think it does, take a trip to Tennessee and witness what a dreamer president has done in the way of harnessing and using the great water power of America. A score of years ago, such a dream would have seemed like madness. You have been disappointed. You have undergone defeat during the Depression. You have felt the great heart within you crushed until it bled. Who has felt that? I have felt that at some point in my life. I have. Take courage, for these experiences have tempered the spiritual metal of which you are made. Come on now, somebody. Woo. They are assets of incomparable value. Remember too that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start. Did you hear that? Remember that all who succeed in life get off to a bad start and pass through many heartbreaking struggles before they arrive. The turning point in the lives of those who succeed usually comes at the moment of some crisis, through which they are introduced to their other selves. John Bunyan wrote The Pilgrim's Progress, which is among the finest of all English literature. After he had been confined in prison and sorely punished because of his views on the subject of religion, O. Henry discovered the genius which slept within his brain after he had met with great misfortune and was confined in a prison cell in Columbus, Ohio. Being forced through misfortune to become acquainted with his other self and to use his imagination, he discovered himself to be a great author instead of a miserable criminal and outcast. Strange and varied are the ways of life, and stranger still are the ways of infinite intelligence, through which men are sometimes forced to undergo all sorts of punishment before discovering their own brains and their own capacity to create useful ideas through imagination. Edison, the world's greatest inventor and scientist, was a tramp telegraph operator. He failed innumerable times before he was driven, finally to the discovery of the genius which slept within his brain. Charles Dickens began by pasting labels on blackened pots. The tragedy of his first love penetrated the depth of his soul and converted him into one of the world's truly great authors. That tragedy produced first David Copperfield, then a succession of other works that made this a richer and better world for all who read his books. Disappointment over love affairs generally has the effect of driving men to drink and women to ruin, and this because most people never learn the art of transmuting their strongest emotions into dreams of a constructive nature. Helen Keller became deaf, dumb, and blind shortly after birth. Despite her greatest misfortune, she had written her name indelibly in the pages of the history of the great. Her entire life has served as evidence that no one ever is defeated until defeat has been accepted as a reality. Robert Burns was an illiterate country lad. He was cursed by poverty and grew up to be a drunkard. In the bargain, the world was made better for his having lived because he clothed beautiful thoughts in poetry and thereby plucked a thorn and planted a rose in its place. Booker T. Washington was born in slavery, handicapped by race and color. Because he was tolerant, He had an open mind at all times and on all subjects, and was a dreamer. He left his impress for good on an entire race. Beethoven was deaf. Who knows Beethoven? Many of us do. Beethoven was deaf. Milton was blind. But their names will last as long as time endures, because they dreamed and translated their dreams into organized thoughts. Before passing to the next chapter, kindle anew in your mind the fire of hope, faith, courage, and tolerance. If you have these states of mind and a working knowledge of the principles described, all else that you need will come to you. When you're ready for it, let Emerson state the thought in these words: every proverb, every book, every byword that belongs to thee for aid and comfort shall surely come home through open or winding passages. Every friend whom not thy fantastic will, but the great and tender soul in thee craveth, shall lock thee in his embrace. There is a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. Did you hear that? If you really desire something, it says you're not ready for it until you believe you can acquire it. Well, the state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. Did you hear that? Let me read that last part again. It says, closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, or belief. So if you really want to achieve your dream and be successful in whatever you're doing, you've got to have an open mind, because open mind inspires faith, courage, and belief. Wow, this is amazing. This is actually what I had to share with you today. And this is just like a summary of the story of great people who went through great challenges but finally made it through, and now the world knows them as, great and successful people. But they had gone through challenges before achieving any kind of success, or before they got to where they are at. So I thought I was just going to share with you these few principles of faith, principle of courage, of belief, and principle of tolerance. So sometimes we have to go through hardship, hard stuff, tough situation, and you have to be able to have like a thick skin, to be tolerant, to go through it, but to also keep your vision, to keep your dream in your mind, and to know that no matter what, using your belief that you are going to make it through. You have to be very courageous and believe and have faith that no matter what, you're going to find a way and you're going to make it through. So this is just like a quick encouragement for all of us who are going through tough, challenging times in any area of your life, be it financial, emotional, relationship-wise, career-wise, or any aspect of your life where you are actually going through challenges. I just want to share this story with you and let you know that you're not alone. You've never been. This book was written in the 1930s. And at that time, they were also going through depression. And Napoleon, he was writing this to encourage the people of his time. And it's even relevant to us now in the situation we find us in. So you know what? Success principles are eternal. The principles of faith, of courage, of belief, of tolerance, of love, they are eternal. And I know that if we, apply them, we're definitely going to come through this, through any challenges, that we're going to come out victorious. And I'm so happy that you joined me today. We talked about how to go through tough times, and I shared with you examples of people who went through tough times but they made it anyway, because they never gave up. So never give up on whatever you're doing, in whatever you do. If you really desire it, if you really want it, hang in there, never give up. But before I say goodbye today, and before I wish you a lovely week, we are going to take an affirmation from the Abundance book. You know the drill. Every week we take an affirmation from the Abundance book, because I believe that many of us, we want to be successful financially as well. I want to be successful financially, so I like to use I use this book, the Abundance book, to do my affirmation. So just repeat after me. My consciousness of the Spirit within me, as my unlimited source, is the divine power to restore the years the locusts have eaten. to make all things new, to lift me up to the high road of abundant prosperity. This awareness, understanding, and knowledge of spirit appears as every visible form and experience that I could possibly desire. Let's do that one more time. My consciousness of the spirit within me, as my unlimited source, is the divine power to restore the years the locusts have eaten, to make all things new, to lift me up to the high road of abundant prosperity. This awareness, understanding, and knowledge of spirit appears as every visible form and experience that I could possibly desire. Yes, my friend, any experience that you desire, your belief in the universe, manifest as that experience. And I'm so happy that you joined me today. Today we talked about, going through tough times, how to go through tough times, and we shared the principles of love, of faith, of belief, of courage, and of tolerance. And I'm so happy that you I love this comment. Yes, please, let's do it again. Just a bit slower, please, to give us time to repeat each phrase. That actually does make sense. Today I went a bit fast. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. This time slower. My consciousness of the spirit within me, as my unlimited source, is a divine power to restore the years the locusts have eaten, to make all things new, to lift me up to the high road of abundant prosperity. This awareness, understanding, and knowledge of spirit appears as every visible form and experience that I could possibly desire. I hope that this time you got it. Thank you so much for the feedback. And as I was saying, today I shared with you how, other great men in history, they went through tough times and they made it with the principle of love, courage, faith, belief, and tolerance. I believe that we can go through any challenging time, the challenging times that we're going right now, and we can come out victorious. I'm your girl, Alunda Silva, and thank you so much for joining me on this series of Rising Above the Average. And if you're interested in getting weekly inspiration or knowing more or getting to know how you can actually be successful in anything you do, go to my website and download my free 8 simple steps on how to be successful in anything that you do. Thank you guys so much. Reach out to me here if you need any help in anything, if it can help you. If you want to know more about me, go to my website, askaloanything.com, and you can get a lot of my free stuff to help you in your mindset, in your business, in your life, and in everything that you want to. Because I believe that life is a wholesome life, is an integrated part of our life, and different things come together to make it beautiful. I love you guys, and I wish you very, very, very lovely week and lots of success. I'll see you next weekend. Bye.